Do you know that your faith can affect how well you can get over that big rock that's holding you back? Let's dive into this story of faith. In the small town of Brookshire, where faith and perseverance intertwine, a man named John Harrison lived his dream as a passionate basketball coach at Brookshire Christian School. For years, he poured his heart into the game, molding young athletes with the hope of leading them to state championships. But dreams sometimes take unexpected turns. When the town's largest manufacturing plant shut down, jobs disappeared, and families were forced to leave. John watched helplessly as his team unraveled, his star players moving away one by one. Eventually, the school had no choice but to cancel the basketball program, leaving John without a team, without a purpose, and lost. Then came an assignment he never saw coming. Cross country, a sport John knew nothing about. His passion was basketball, not endurance running. And to make matters worse, his new team consisted of just one runner, a shy, troubled girl named Hannah Scott. Hannah was no ordinary athlete. She had been abandoned by her parents and raised by her grandmother. With the scars of rejection weighing on her heart, she ran not for victory, but to escape her pain. John too wrestled with doubt. He wasn't a running coach. How could he possibly help this young girl when he himself felt so lost? But with the unwavering encouragement of his wife Amy, he chose to give it his all. Then, in the most unexpected of places, John met a man who would change everything. Thomas Hill, a blind former champion runner, shared wisdom that struck John to his core. "Who are you?" Thomas asked. John answered with confidence, "I'm a basketball coach." But Thomas pressed further, "And if that's taken away, who are you?" For the first time, John was forced to confront the truth. His identity had always been tied to his job. But what if he was meant for something more? As John grew into his new role, Hannah faced her own battle. A shocking revelation came. Her father, the same man she thought had abandoned her, was still alive. Questions with no answers. Could she face him? Could she forgive him? But as she witnessed John and his wife live out their faith, something began to shift within her. Encouraged, she took a brave step and met her father. Their reunion was filled with tears and regret. Thomas, now blind, had spent years trapped in guilt over his past mistakes. He longed for redemption. He longed for Hannah's forgiveness. Though the wounds were deep, Hannah's heart softened. Slowly, healing began. With the state championship approaching, Hannah trained harder than ever. But this race was no longer just about winning. It was about proving to herself that she was more than her past. Race day arrived. The competition was fierce. The pain in her lungs reminded her of every hardship she had endured. But then she remembered the words of her father. "Run with endurance, fixing your eyes on Jesus." She pushed forward. Step by step, she defied the odds. And as she crossed the finish line, victory. But the greatest triumph wasn't the medal around her neck. It was the transformation in her heart. That day, Hannah stood before the crowd, sharing her story. Her identity was no longer in running, in her past, or in her pain. It was in Christ. She forgave her father. She embraced the love she had always longed for. And in that moment, she became more than a runner. She became an overcomer. The story of Overcomer teaches us, our identity is in Christ. We are more than our jobs, our talents, or our past failures. Our worth is found in God. Forgiveness brings healing. When we let go of pain and bitterness, we make room for love and restoration. God uses challenges for good. What seems like a setback is often a setup for something greater. Faith requires endurance. Just like in a race, life's journey demands perseverance and trust in God. Redemption is always possible. No matter how broken we feel, God's love can restore us. And so, John, Hannah, and Thomas each discovered the truth. that to truly overcome, you must first know who you are. And in Christ, you are more than enough.